A large amount of blood was found in the attic on the roof, but no body was found inside the attic with the locked door and windows. Where is the body? One morning in February 2013, a property management staff in a community in Ziyang City found that the water meter for the attic on the rooftop was operating abnormally. He was worried that there was water leakage in the attic, so he informed the house owner of the attic to check it. The small attic located on the rooftop was rented out by the landlady, who lived downstairs. She had not been up there for several months. She knocked on the door, but no one answered, so she opened the door with her spare key. When the landlady entered the room, she saw that the tap in the kitchen was running, but the tenant was not at home. The landlady was quite unhappy. After closing the tap, she checked if the windows in the room were closed properly. At this time, she found something strange in the room. There were red marks on the floor, which looked like bloodstains. Then the landlady called the police right away. The police arrived at the scene quickly. They saw a lot of dried bloodstains in the room, but before conducting blood tests, they couldn't confirm whether it was human blood. The landlady told the police that the tenants were barbecue vendors. Slaughtering small animals should be one of their works, so it was not surprising that there were unclean bloodstains in the room. However, after investigating the scene, the police believed that the bloodstains were not from animals. Firstly, if it was the bloodstains left by slaughtering livestock, why were the bloodstains not in the kitchen or bathroom, but in the bedroom? This was unreasonable. Secondly, judging from the bloodstains on the scene, the amount of bleeding was quite large, but the barbecue vendors usually only slaughter small animals such as fish and chickens, and don't slaughter large livestock such as cows and sheep, especially at home, so there shouldn't be a large amount of bloodstains. Moreover, the police found human hairs in the bloodstains. This made the police feel that the matter was not simple, so they asked the landlady to contact the tenants immediately. But the phone number the tenants told the landlady didn't exist. This made the police more convinced that a crime had occurred there. Therefore, the police immediately extracted blood samples from the scene for testing and soon got the results. These bloodstains were human blood, which meant that someone had been attacked in this room, but the police didn't find a body, so they couldn't confirm that it was a homicide case. If the victim didn't die but left with injuries, he must have been seriously injured to leave so much blood. But the door and windows of the attic were locked, and only bloodstains were found inside the room, while no bloodstains were found outside the attic. The police didn't find any traces of the victim's departure, so where was the victim if he didn't leave the attic? After further investigation, the police found that the bloodstains on the scene had been wiped, indicating that someone had cleaned up the scene and tried to cover up some traces. If so, the attic located on the rooftop should be the first scene of the crime. Therefore, the tenants who were unreachable had serious suspicion. The police once again found the landlady to inquire about the tenant's situation. The landlady said that two men rented the attic in May last year. They told the landlady that they were selling barbecue and usually worked at night and slept during the day. Due to the difference in work schedules, the landlady hadn't seen these tenants for several months. After interviewing the surrounding neighbors, the police learned that they hadn't seen the two tenants for some time. Could the two missing tenants be the suspects? The police who were investigating the scene found a small flower bed near the attic on the roof. The leaves appeared to be damaged, and the soil in the flower bed had been turned. The police immediately excavated the flower bed, and only after digging less than 5 inches, they uncovered something, a long object wrapped in plastic cloth. The plastic cloth looked like it was new and very clean. Through the plastic cloth, the police saw a foot, and it turned out that what was buried under the flower bed was a corpse. After forensic examination, the deceased was a male, about 25 years old and 5 feet 5 tall. He only wore the underwear and no shoes. The deceased was killed by a sharp object, and the fatal injuries were in the neck and head. The wound on the neck of the body matched the bloodstains left in the room, which indicated that this was the victim who died in the attic. Soon, the police found a chopping knife in a bucket outside the kitchen. After identification, it was confirmed that it was the murder weapon. Who was the deceased, and what was his relationship with the tenants of the attic? The physical characteristics of the deceased reminded the landlady of one person, namely one of the tenants, Chen Yusong. When renting the attic, the landlady asked the tenants to provide identity information for registration, and it was Chen Yusong who provided the identity information. The landlady said that Chen Yusong had a lame leg, and this feature also matched the body. The part below the right ankle of the body was missing, which meant that the body didn't have a right foot, and there were 2 steel nails at the right ankle joint. The police judged that the deceased had undergone amputation surgery due to some trauma or disease. Based on the above information, the police believed that the body was the tenant, Chen Yusong. Based on the blood spatter on the bedside and the clothes the body was wearing when found, the police believed that Chen Yusong was killed while lying on the bed. No defensive wounds were found on the body, indicating that the killer hacked him quickly, and the victim lost his ability to resist within a very short time. The suspect cleaned up the scene and buried the body after the murder, indicating that he was familiar with the crime scene. The victim's roommate was strongly suspected of committing the crime. However, there were still some things that made the police feel puzzled. From the bloodstains on the crime scene, the blood had dried up and turned black-brown. This meant that the time of the crime was at least 4 months ago. The police also found a suitcase at the scene with blood-stained clothes inside. There were flies in the clothes. The flies' eggs had been laid, and the eggs had already pupated. From these phenomena, the time of the crime should be in the summer. Moreover, the room was covered with dust, and the physical evidence at the scene showed that the room hadn't been inhabited for at least 3 or 4 months. However, when the police visited the neighbors around, they got different information. Some people reported that in January, that was about 10 days before the body was found, they saw the lights were on in the attic. Besides, the landlady's father also heard footsteps above from the attic in January. Moreover, the tap in the kitchen was left running about 10 days before the crime. That is to say, there was still someone here half a month before the crime. Then, the police found Chen Yusong's home address through his identity information and rushed there to investigate the situation. However, the police who arrived at his home were shocked because Chen Yusong was not dead. In other words, the body belonged to someone else. Since Chen Yusong was not the victim, would he be the murderer? Then the police questioned him. Chen Yusong said that he had been working in Chengdu City and had never been to Xi'an City, let alone rented a house in Xi'an. When answering the police's questions, he always looked away. When asked about his ID card, he said that the ID card was lost. Such behaviors made the police feel he was suspicious, so the police searched Chen Yusong and found his ID card in his wallet, as well as a rental contract. This contract was exactly the rental contract of the attic where the murder occurred. Then the police took Chen Yusong back to the police station for further interrogation.
侦查员，我姓甘，这是我的证件。怎么看啊？他姓朱。我们现在对有相关的问题对你进行询问。如与本案无关的问题，你可以拒绝回答。
Soon after, several police officers searched his home and quickly found a bank card that didn't belong to him and an ID card named Yin Cheng. Faced with the evidence found by the police, Chen Yusong quickly confessed to his crime. It turned out that the deceased was his roommate, Yin Cheng. To find out more information about Yin Cheng, the police immediately called Yin Cheng's father to inquire about Yin Cheng's situation. However, after the police asked if Yin Cheng was his son, Yin Cheng's father said that whether Yin Cheng was dead or alive had nothing to do with them. This statement made the police feel very strange. The police just learned that the deceased was Yin Cheng. Why did his father seem to know this already and say that he had nothing to do with his death? With such questions, the police came to Yin Cheng's parents' home for further inquiries. It turned out that there was a hidden story behind the case. Yin Cheng was adopted by his current adoptive parents when he was a little kid. After he later learned that he was not their biological son, he had very little trust in his adoptive parents. After graduating from junior high school, Yin Cheng began to work outside his hometown. Later, while working at a factory, an equipment malfunction caused an accident, which cut off Yin Cheng's right foot. After rehabilitation, Yin Cheng's family and the factory argued for a long time over the amount of compensation. Yin Cheng's adoptive parents proposed a compensation of 500,000 yuan, but the company disagreed. Yin Cheng later secretly signed an agreement with the factory without his adoptive parents' knowledge, accepting the factory's proposed compensation of 220,000 yuan, which was equivalent to $70,000. After Yin Cheng received the money, he never contacted his adoptive parents again. His adopted father was very angry with him, so when the police called to inquire about Yin Cheng's situation, his father angrily said that whether he was dead or alive had nothing to do with them. However, when the police informed them that Yin Cheng was indeed dead, his family couldn't accept the fact that their son was gone. Yin Cheng, who left home with money, found his best friend, Chen Yusong. The two were together every day since then, and Yin Cheng also told Chen Yusong about the money he received for work-related injuries. Yin Cheng, who regarded Chen Yusong as a brother, didn't know that Chen Yusong had a vicious idea after learning about this. Chen Yusong persuaded Yin Cheng to open a barbecue restaurant with him, and then they rented the attic in Xi'an City. Chen Yusong hoped to use this opportunity to cheat out of Yin Cheng's money. However, Yin Cheng had always cherished this money, and Chen Yusong never succeeded in cheating it. Seeing that he couldn't cheat the money, in a fit of anger, Chen Yusong killed Yin Cheng and robbed his bank card with 220,000 yuan in it. However, Chen Yusong didn't know the password of the card, and after entering the wrong password several times in a row, the card was locked. He didn't get the money, but killed a person. In order not to be discovered, after the crime, Chen Yusong returned to the attic of the rooftop every once in a while and turned on the lights and the tap, making others mistakenly believe that there was still someone living there. At that time, Yin Cheng registered with Chen Yusong's identity information, so the landlady kept confusing the two of them.
小区，当时是你哪个人租的房子？我和允成。你和允成这儿租的房子嘛，嘎？我和允成。你和允成嘛，是吧？哦，你们两个人租的嘛？那现在你就带我们去看一下啊。
The last time Chen Yusong got back to the attic, he forgot to close the tap when he left. That's how the landlady went up and checked up on the attic.
当时你们租住的房子是在哪间屋里面？带我们到你们租住的房子里面。这间？我不知道。对呀，在等一下。知道。啊，你们住的是哪间屋？这个地方是你放啥子地方？放刀的地方。啥子刀？菜刀。菜刀。就是你杀死陈允成那把菜刀。然后你是过后是把尸体放在哪里的？你带我们来指来看一下。
哦，你看那东西刨的这个土，洋船，哪一把洋船？
这把洋船。这把洋船是哪儿来的？房东放在里面你们扫地用的啊。然后你拿这个洋船刨的这个花台刨了个坑啊，就把尸体放在里面。你为啥子想到把尸体放在里面呢？放在这儿呢？
因为怕他就是发臭嘛。
Finally, Chen Yusong was sentenced to death with a 2-year reprieve for intentional homicide.